So did we write something somewhere, or there's someone who can walk us through what we were able to do? Any challenges, or we are okay? We'll just finish it and then have the write-up.
Me, I could have shared, but I'm not using my machine. Kuna stima.
Stima zimeenda saa hizi ama zilienda saa ngapi?
Nimefika home tu sahii nikapata hakuna stima. Nimetoka job nikapata hakuna stima.
Anyone else, or was there a challenge? Maybe if you have a write-up, you can just submit. We see what we were able to achieve. Because I'm also giving an individual assignment today, which will be done till Wednesday. So on Wednesday, before we log out, I expect that we should have submitted all our assignments, which will be given today. So I was hoping that whatever was to be done for the group works will be done by now, so that now we can faithfully do the next part of the next week. Any question for functions where we were able to cover last week? Wow, have we been able to practice?
Kindly first check if we are all here, because I think I'm the only one who is here. Maybe you can check if everybody is here.
Godwin, how far are we?
I'm here.
So I'm asking from the functions, how good are we now? We move forward, any question?
I think based on the assignment you had left,
Mm-hmm.
the only difficulty I had it was with the dated if part.
Okay.
So I don't know how I can share it to so that you can aid me to work it through.
Work with the dated if. Okay. So the rest you also have been able to do them. I think it would be good if you shared also what you've been able to achieve, but I will do an overview of the dated if before we go on. Joy, Christine, any issue on your side? Or how are we faring on?
Hi, Esther.
Hi.
So far, so good. But in the assignment, the group work,
Yeah.
I had, well, I managed to extract the names of the employees.
Mm-hmm.
But now, after extracting the first name, it wasn't making sense to me how I arrived at the first name after doing it.
Okay. What function did you use, if you remember?
I used find.
The find.
So first,
Mm-hmm.
just a sec. I used the find function to find the position, to find the let me say first name position. So I wrote, let me try, I can share. When I share, okay. What am I sharing?
Still not visible on my side, saying you have started sharing, but still can't see it.
What am I sharing? Hope I'm sharing that thing. My laptop has hung. Kindly, what are you seeing?
Same Zoom.
Unaongea? Uza swali.
Anauliza nini mnaona kwa screen yake? I think I might drop. Okay, but we'll come back to her. It's okay.
Sorry,
If,
Esther.
yeah.
Okay, so Esther, sorry, if I try sharing, my laptop hangs.
Okay.
But so this is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Let me start to the second name. So from the mid function, when
Me, I'm
I
not seeing your
write, sorry,
I'm not seeing your screen.
every time I try sharing, it hangs. I don't know what to do.
You can share your function in the chat we see. Or someone else was able to achieve it and they're here. Someone was able to get the name.
Okay, got it. Let me just share it in the chat then.
Okay.
My laptop is just messing me up today. So
No worries. It happened. Looked at it. I think I will just start for today and then I can be able to go through them once you're all done. I want just a write up and then we can go through them. For purposes of time and the one who is using their phone, we'll go through them. Is that okay?
yeah, that's okay. All right.
So I'm hoping people are able to do. So I don't know how you are planning to submit it as a group, whether we are going to get one write up or how are we going to get it.
Eve said that you said we should not submit, we should just do it as a group, but we can maybe do one write up, then we submit.
So yeah, I ideally don't want a submission, yes, but how will we know where the challenge was or what you were able to achieve? That is the whole point. So if you are able to do everything and you get it, it's okay. No worries, you don't have to submit it. But now if you have questions, now you see, I am not sure where the questions are, but I think with the individual assignment, you'll be able to get to that point now. We'll be able to know where everyone is at. Is that okay? Sawa sawa.
Si mtu mwingine pia aseme
Yes, that is in order.
Alright. So where are we doing performance. So I'd seen a formula before I started sharing. Last week we had introduced the lookups, the VLOOKUP. We say there is X. Do we have X in our sides, on our sides? Tuko na X lookup. Someone just confirm we have X lookup. Guys, do we have X lookup on our devices? Or we just go ahead. All right. So if you can't hear me at any point, just tell me.
Yes, I have X lookup. Sorry.
You know, it's like I'm talking to myself. It's 7 p.m., but it's okay. So let's hope we'll be able to cover what you're supposed to cover today. So yes, last week we introduced VLOOKUP. We said VLOOKUP are usually used to check a value. It can be used in a different sheets. You can use one worksheet, check something in another worksheet. So let's say we have, like we said, Excel covers like 1 million rows. So you want to find a certain employee in that data set. It might take a lot of time to go search it. Yes, I know you can use either the filter and find, but now the VLOOKUP usually helps to bring this data together, especially now when we now start going to things like dashboard. You find them, they're very useful because let's say now you have created a search button. So when you just type the name Wendy, it brings every detail of Wendy that you want down there. But now all these things do more or less the same thing. You're just looking something from a certain column, you bring it in a different area. The one main disadvantage of VLOOKUP is just it only looks for things on its right side. So let's say we have this name. Like you remember me mentioning something about IDs, saying if you want to go pick a package, they have your either your ID or your phone number recorded somewhere. So you have to go show your ID. Or either you have a message or an email, you have to go verify, or even a ticket. You have to go show the ticket and then they're able to join these two, the tickets that they have and you, the person, and then they're able to give you what you want. So that is what the lookup does. So they usually a unique identifier that is between the two. So we also mentioned something like joins. So if you have joins, remember there's usually a common column between the two. So also here, we usually have something common between whatever you're looking for and the original data set. So let's say this is our unique thing, our table B. And then I want to look for the employee's ID. With VLOOKUP, I cannot be able to look for it because I always look for things on the right side. So that is where now the X comes. X is able to look for things on the right. It can look at whichever direction. You also mentioned there's something like HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP is rarely used because most of the time our tables are oriented in this way. So you have our column names here. So if the column names are on this other side, now they're like this, they're on the row side, that is where you'd use HLOOKUP most of the time. But now you'll find there are things like transpose. So you're able to transpose your table to look vertically up. Okay. So I think now we can start using our VLOOKUP, if we have understood the explanation of what it does. So if we want to do our syntax, we can open it here. At this point, we search our VLOOKUP here. Okay. As always, we have our explanation here. So what do you want to look up for? And then the second is the table. So this is the table area that we need. Or we can either use the whole table, or if you want to look for something between D and J, that is what we can use. And then the column index. So it takes what do you want to return? So once I come and identify my employee ID, I want to return their salary. So that is what the column index. So I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And it counts from the range that I gave. So if any of the table is A, B, C, D, but I picked from B to J, it will count B as 1. So that is how it goes. Then for the range, this one takes either, do I want an exact match or do I want an approximate match? So most of the time, unless it's numbers and such, best practice, use false. So just do one, you'll find it in the notes. So you can just click it, it will bring us to our syntax. So our lookup value is what? So let us just look up the cell in M1. So there you can put what you want to look up directly, but I want us to use that point. And then we can select our table. The table, I hope today it is going to cover it. This is a small table. If not, remember you said you can use either Control Shift downwards, it will give you the whole table. And then what column do I want to return? So for me, I want to return our salary. So we started with the very first one, and then we want to return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our salary is the 6th one. So this one you can either decide to leave it as it is, or you can also fill it. So it will give us an NA because we picked this cell here and it didn't have anything. So if we put something like now the E001, it will not return in the correct time. Okay. Doesn't identify the E001. First one. Yeah. So yeah, it picked it. So I had to, because it's returning number, it would not be able to identify whether it's an approximate or any. So I had to use the 0. 0, I think 0 is for true. Let me check. Those two ranges are also some areas that usually eat my head for some reason. So we can also use this other one, the VLOOKUP at this point. So we say, what do we want to look up? Let's say our cell, that one there. Again, remember you have either to select the whole table. I don't know if I mentioned last time how you can be able to choose, give a name of the table. I think I mentioned there's a way you can rename. Like now the way we have selected it, I can come at this point and just rename it, sorry. So at this point, select the entire table. And there, then have it named as my table. So that now when I want to do something, I don't have to keep renaming it. So the value I want to look up is at this point. What do I want to look up for? I can just click F3. So if I click F3, you can see my range comes now as it was. So I don't have to keep every time selecting the entire table. So I'll just select the table once, and then in the rest, I can just choose that way. So you can see it highlighted the whole table. So once I do that, what do I want to return? I want to return the status of my employee. If I put it like J2, you will see the problem it will bring. So yeah, so let's do the 0. The 0 is the fourth. So if it's true, we want an approximate match, and then false, the exact match. So most of the time we return the 0, which is the fourth. Let's see what it will give us. It will give us also an error again, because first of all, we are using the O. The column we're using is O, sorry. We want that one is 001. So you can see it's giving a reference error. We should also be able to do errors at some point, but not today. So the reason it's doing that is because when I was checking the column, I just gave J, which is wrong. Because now for VLOOKUP, it takes then a number. So you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to return column 10. So you can see it gives us terminated. Now, because instead of getting all these things that are many, let us just choose one. We have M1. Okay. Did we get the syntax for VLOOKUP and how we are using it?
My first example was not applicable.
Pardon?
The first example you gave, mine did not give me any figure.
Do you want to share with it?
Mhm.
You can share. You can share it.
I hope you can hear me though. I don't have power.
Oh, you also don't have power, so you cannot be able to
Mm-mm.
share.
No, I can share. I hope you can see. I'm hotspotting.
Okay, I'm also hotspotting. We are many in this. So today you have to finish early for many reasons.
Are you able to
Okay.
see?
Yes, I can see.
Yes.
So the
Sorry, this one.
so your M has something, so you can't have your lookup as M.
Okay.
Yeah. So try, we are in column P,
Oh,
or
sorry. So I
O
used the
does not have
wrong.
anything. Yeah, so you can either have the very first value to be O1.
Here.
Yeah, O1.
Why O?
Because I want we put our values in O. The column O.
Okay. The
Yeah.
column.
You
Okay.
see,
Okay.
yeah, you see your M, we had determinated already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that okay?
So just enter. Yeah, just enter. We done with the formula. Then come to O1 now.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Enter
One.
our O1 is the down one. So 2 now. So 2.
Two. Yeah.
Okay, even in
Mm.
O1, just even in O1, because we don't have anything in O1, is
Okay.
001. E001. Our columns had the
Oh.
E. Yeah.
E001. Sorry.
Yeah. Now you see the difference?
Mm.
Yeah. So you can also choose if you want it to be static. So where we put O1 in the formula, you just write
Mm-hmm.
the ID there.
Where is my formula? Mm-hmm.
There. So you just click it. So you, at that point, just remove the O1, then write the E001.
E001.
And that one is a
No, it's an O. This is an O.
yeah.
So, yeah. Oh,
And then now put it again as a string. Oh, it lost it. Put it as a
Mbona
string.
ijaweka ijachukua zero?
Eka ka string. Eka zile quotation marks.
Oh,
Put the
okay.
quotation marks.
Okay.
Ile identify ka string.
Yes.
I hope it will work. But ideally, if you want to look for something, you can also do it that way.
Okay.
Now, what is it telling you? We have a typo. Did we lose anything? So maybe it can't pick it as a string. But now you can also lock it up at that point that way. But ideally, because just take it back to 1. No, the formula, we change now the formula to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Not a 0 or 1.
Yeah, no, without the commas and without all those things. So if I wanted also to look for something, I don't know why it didn't pick the 00, the E001 as that, but you can also be able to search for it. If you just type the name Christine or whoever it is supposed to give you what it is doing. Sawa.
Okay.
You will do something else. We try to return something else. Return the name. Yeah, return the name. The next person will be Joy Christine. Joy Christine will share the next one. So there we do the name.
We do the name.
Yeah.
I
We are
hope I
returning
get the
now.
concept.
Yeah, fine. That is usually the easiest way to get if you're able to practice. So you don't have to go to insert function. If you saw, we had another way also.
This one.
Just here the function.
That one?
You see
Or
at
which
the
one?
formula bar, we have the fx. Just at the formula bar.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. If you click the fx,
Okay.
it brings it again. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we looking for again? Our O1. So our O1 will be our standard column that we are looking for every time. Okay. Our table array.
So the
Starts
array is
from
the entire table?
the entire table. You have not named yours yet.
No, I haven't named it.
Okay. So it is starting at around A1.
Am I able to go to this table?
Yeah, you can be able to go to it. But you can just type A1, A1 to yes, we'll go to K.
Was it K or M?
M, yours goes to M, M101. So yeah, what do you want? Which column do you want to return? You want to return the name column?
You said the name?
Yeah.
I can't
Scroll,
remember
just scroll.
what column it is.
Just scroll. We have the kaba hapa chini, you can scroll with it.
I am
Hapa kwa status bar, downwards,
okay.
at the status bar, there was a kanini you can be able to move here. So it's the second column.
It's the second column B.
Yeah. But now remember this, we said it's a number. So you put a number. So you can't say column B, you have to put.
It's 1, 2, it's column 2.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
2. So
Yes. And then you have said we do a fourth. So we do a 0.
So we do a 0. Do we have to put anything here, range lookup?
No, remove the 0 at that point. So the 0 is the one it's supposed to be at the range. Yeah.
Say okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Awesome.
So you have been able to return the name. So you see, if you want to search anything, you're able to bring them as we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something.
So
Next
Joy
digit.
Chris will be prepared for the next one. So yeah, so for most of the time, if you can see my screen, you can have now something like here. You say salary will be at that point, and then you'll have status at this point. And copy my formula. And then you can have my name. Already you have the formula for the name. We are still looking up for this value. So you can see, at least with this one, it's a bit dynamic. So even if I want to change, so we said it's the second column, then returning an approximate match that way. So the good thing is, if I want to change to something else, I want to check number 16. I only change one and it brings everything else that we have for number 16. So if someone comes and says, I want to know who is the employee, I have this registration number, this person has been very notorious, 24, who is this person? It's so and so. So in the chambers, this was their salary, are they retired, are they still employees and such. So you can see it becomes very easy to work with it. So we'll not use HLOOKUP because it now means we have to invert our whole table, but you can practice with it and see how it works. I hope you have understood the VLOOKUP and such. We can also try to do the same with now the true. See, you remember when we did with the true, how what it did, what it had brought, some few weird things. You're bringing at least for the numbers. And then the copy for this one. I hope we also remember our approximate matches and such. So you can say I didn't lock my M1. So that is why it is changing everything. So what it means most of the time, especially when you want to use the true, for the false, the zero, if it didn't find whatever we were looking for, it will continue, it will give the next closest thing that you want. But if you say you want an exact match, it means if it is not there, it will return not available. Okay? So that is now some of the differences with it. I think we're done with the VLOOKUP. We can do now the XLOOKUP. We have said now the problem with this one, it only looks to the right. It can't move behind. So if we have our lookup to be something like, which one does it looks like it can be used? Let's say we moved now this column to be the first one and then this one to be this one. You cannot be able to search for names. If our employee ID becomes after the name, so you cannot be able to get the name. So it only looks for things on the right. That is one of the main disadvantages of it. So for XLOOKUP, looks a bit more or less the same as the VLOOKUP, just that it now works on any direction that you want. And then the other good thing, you see with VLOOKUP, how we are starting to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever. For this one, you don't have to count. You just return whatever you want. So again, what are we looking up for? Our column that we choose, the cell that we choose that we'll be using. Array, we want, what do we want to check? We are using this one. So for this one, you will notice there is no point of an entire table like the other one. We are just looking. So we are using an ID. At what point is the ID? It's in column A. What do you want to return? Once you see the ID that you're looking for, what do you want to return? You want to return our name. So the other thing about this one, the length of the lookup should be equal to the length of the return. So if I say like for this one, I decide I want to put the values as they are. So 1, 1. And then for B, I leave it to be the entire length. It will give an error. We'll also do these different errors because for this one, it expects everything should be equal. So if my length is that one, 101, this one also has to be 101. So you can see it returns the same as the other one. Sawa sawa? Eve, are we okay?
So
Good, yeah.
please just go through it again.
For the, so we do something else.
The
We do salary.
XLOOKUP.
Yeah, we do salary. So remember, who was supposed to share this one? There was someone who was supposed to share.
So it
They
was
are
me,
sharing
but I don't
for.
have these data sets.
You don't have this data set. We've been using this data set for the longest time. Anyone who is in a position to share, or I just share? Yeah, I can't find it.
Who say they don't have the data set? Is it Christine or Mwende?
Me.
Oh, you don't have it?
I don't have it. Is there a way I can get it too?
Esther shared in the group.
It's also
And I
in
think
Oh,
the
let me check.
Google, whatever.
in the Google class.
Yeah. Someone who has it nearby who can share it. I'm trying to look for it. I'm not identifying at what point it is. Oh, it is. Let me see. It could be in
Let me
the
look for it.
all category. Let me see. Can I get it here? Not the project. The project was the assignment. The performance was the classwork. Shared it. I hope my screen is back up.
Yeah.
So again, we move to our X lookup. So we have said, what do you want to look up for? You put whatever you want to look up for. Here you said you can even type the name. If you want it to be static, you can just write Christina or whoever or the ID. You can write it there. But now because we want ours to be dynamic, every time I change, we get something different. At least we just put as a cell. And then lookup array. Whatever we are looking up is what? Is our employee ID. Whatever we are inputting is our employee ID. And we have said the
So
length
you
should be
highlight the entire
yeah,
column.
you can highlight either the entire column, or if you want now just 100 of them, you just look in the first 100, you do the first 100. That's why I was saying if you have your entire data length, so we know our data length is 1 to 101. Ours is the short. Or you can do the other one, the control shift downwards, you get the entire array. So whatever you use at that point is still the same you use for our return. What do you want to return? Our salary. You can already see this is easier because I don't have to keep counting. So you'd ask, especially now for the VLOOKUP, when you add something new, let's say a new column is added, remember now it moves to the other side. But for this one, at least, you know if it's the F, it's the F, so you don't have to keep counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and such. So it's a bit easier. Okay. So this is what we are looking up for. So whatever we are entering in our cell is our employee's ID. So where is this employee ID located? It's in this column. So this is our lookup array. And then what do we want to return? We want to return our salary. So you just highlight also the next one. Then the rest we will also put at some point. But for now, we can work with it that way. So you see, it gave us our salary. If we change again, it will still work for all. Okay, so everyone has changed. Sawa sawa. We do another one, someone else to share another screen, we do that. We do for status. Who wants to share for us status. Yeah, mmepotea nyinyi wote.
Tuko hapa.
Who was to share? Nimesahau nani kwa ambia share. Ilikuwa Joy. Mwende, utatusaidia?
Hata my laptop has gone off. I am using the phone now. Badilisha.
Haya, tuambie sasa what to do.
Sorry?
You tell me what I will do. What I will write where.
Yeah. X lookup.
Kumbuka it's a function, so we have to start with x lookup is equals to x lookup.
So E00 E013 ama E001. We're using that.
Yeah, we're just using the cell. Ours is dynamic, so we're just using the cell.
And then the second, we select the whole of the second row.
The second row,
The names.
the name. We are returning status. What return status?
Sorry, I am being disturbed.
There it is.
So you'll select the whole of employee 2 to 100.
So the first one we do, the lookup array, is supposed to be similar to the one we are looking up for. So because we're using our employee ID, that's why we are returning the first one as the lookup array. And what do you want to return? We want to return our status. So that is what we are returning. So you can see it's still correct because I selected the entire. So that's why it didn't give me an error. But if I change something, it would give me an error. So another big difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP is the extra things that you are seeing at the end. So let's say I come and say, I want to look at 0013. You can see how my errors look like. It's a not available. So because we don't have an entry 0013. So if you are using XLOOKUP, the beautiful thing with it, it has error handling issues that you can be able to handle an error within it. Remember when we were using the if error? So for this one, I can just come and say, if not found, what should I say? I will just return to the person, enter a correct ID. So something of the sort. So if I want all the errors to be the same, because now what you're entering is the ID, it will be the entire same way. So just come here, wrong ID. Same thing here. ID not found.
Esther, how do you look for a function that is not automatically on your list of functions?
Okay, at this point, you just come search for it. No, mine is open in direct, sorry. So let's say I'm at this point, click effects. Here are the brief. Just type X lookup.
Oh, then you say go.
Yes.
Why was mine not showing?
It's not showing.
Let me just try again.
What Excel are you using? That's why I asked when we were starting if we have X lookup in our function. What Excel are you using?
Yes, I have it. I have to say go. I have to click on go for it to come up. It doesn't automatically come up.
Okay, because I think the older Excels don't have it, but most people should have it by now. Okay, so we have seen at least for XLOOKUP, we can be able to handle our errors. So for this one, I'll have either to come and add. Do you remember our if error? Do you remember such a function? So it says if error, if we don't have the error, it will return the value. If we have an error, now we say enter correct ID. So this one you have to use two functions for you to be able to achieve the same. But for XLOOKUP, at least you're able to get it within the function itself. So you can be able to write it in that function. That is one of the other main differences. So if you want to use that path that we were leaving, if not found, you can be able to put it. And then again, on the XLOOKUP, we saw something like there was also the match mode. Again, the match mode specify to match lookup value against the value in a lookup array. So by default, an exact match is used. So that's why you can see we have to find the exact match as it is. So that is the default one, which is our 0. Otherwise, we also have others for XLOOKUP. We have a -1, which return either the exact match or the next smaller item. So we have a -1 to return either the exact match. If we have the match, it will return it. If it is not there, it will return the next smaller item. And then we have a 1. 1 will return the exact match or the next larger item. Sawa. Let's see if it will kubali to work with us. We want to return either the exact match or the next. Let's work at this point. So at least the ID, it brought back the name for this one. You can see it give us the name Christina Lawson because we changed that function. You've seen what has happened?
No.
Okay. So this is where we are. So you can see the down part where we have the 0 as the exact match. The default is the exact match. That is why whatever you are using, we didn't have to put anything because it will return the exact match as it is. If we do a -1, it returns an exact match or the next smaller item. So our ID is E013. It is not there when we add an extra 0, but it can either return the next smaller item, which is not the 0013, because you see now if you're using the decimal points and such, the 0013 will be smaller as decimals. If we use +1, it will return either the exact match or the next larger number. And then you have either you want to use a wildcard. I know you've seen the select star in all, or the regex match. So for this one, we used -1. Okay, a -1. Did it put here? So you can see the only thing that worked was the Christina name because it's the one that had it at that point. So let's see also if we do something like 130, would happen. It give us Dustin. Dustin is number who? Is it? That should be number 30. We had searched for Dustin. Dustin was number 13.
013.
Yeah, 013.
So it interchanged.
Yes. So it brought at 013. And then this other one, it brought
But you had
the small.
requested for 030.
Yeah.
You had instructed it to give you 030, or what did I say?
So 130, but we don't have a 130.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so
So it brought Dustin. So you see, it can't bring the correct value as you wanted. So you see, it's now giving us a totally different employee at that point. So most of the time, that is why you will either choose to use an exact match because you never know what it is going to return. So whatever I say, it returns a 103 Sherry. So where is Sherry? Sherry is 10. So it's like it is coming truncating at 10 and picking whatever it finds. So you can get the wrong person at an ID, but at least it's better if you don't want your function to break or bring the NAs and such. So it will always return something. It will, if it's a value, it will return the next available value. But we have said the default is 0. So if you don't put an exact match, it will not return anything. So that is LookUp. I hope you have understood some of the differences between LookUp and VLOOKUP. Now we move to index and match. Those are two different functions, but they are usually used together. You remember the find function, at least you were able to use it last time. So find was returning a number that you can be able to use it with another function. So that's the same way that match will work. So if so we're doing match now. So let's see what match will give us. Again, are the effects. We search for it. It's not among my functions. Search for match. Yeah, matches. So match gives us a lookup value, and then the lookup array, and then you have a match type again. So lookup value, as always, our lookup value is our first cell. We want everything to run the same way. And then one. And then at what point are we looking it up for? At that point. And then, okay. So it tells us whatever we are looking for is at row 11. So we want to look up for this at what point? At row 11. So it might not give a lot of things on its own, but at least it's telling you if I want to look for 020, this person is in row 21. So it just returns a number. So it becomes also very useful when you're using it with the index function. Let's see now what the index does. Index, it returns a value or reference of the cell at the intersection of a particular row and column. So this one has different arguments, but most of the time we use the first one. So the array that you want to look for, and then the row number and the column number. You can see this one has a few functions. So what do you want to look up for? This one. Which row do you want to return? Now this one you have to count again. Which row do I want to return? I want to return the 6th row. The 6th row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I want to return Sherry. Sherry is the 11th. The 11th row. What column from the 11th row do I want to return? I want to return the salary, which is in the 6th column. Okay. Then give me a reference. Error. No, did it give me a ref? You don't have what? Did it return? It returned this 010. So it's like it did not want to pick the column, but it returned now. So when I said I want to return this row number, I give the array and then I give the row number. You can see the column can be at least Optional, it's optional. So yeah, so it will just return for me the cell that is in that point. So you can see, instead of me going counting every time, remember we had this at this point here. It was giving us almost the same thing. So instead of me having come in and counting every minute, I can just combine the two functions and get the same thing. So let me say I want to look for that point and then return this one. You can see it is giving me the E20. So if I change this one again here, I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just making it dynamic a bit. So when I did this to be 22, our index is still giving us the 22 again. So I'm just changing at this point and then our function is working at the same point. But I can also do the same again if I want to do all the other things that I had done with our previous functions. So if I want to check for salary, we can come and do the same again. So our index, our array, we want to return which array? Let's say we want to return our salary. Okay, what did I do? Sorry. And then combine with a match. What does match do? It gives us now match, we said will give us our lookup value, and then we'll tell it to give us either a row number. Remember, either row number is what we want. So what row do we want it to identify? We are using this one. Didn't close the function well. So it's giving me monthly salary because I wanted it to match M1 instead of, it's supposed to do the M1. So match, the lookup value is this one, and then our lookup array, lookup value, this one, our lookup array is this one, and then what do we want to, why is it giving us just the salary? Is our array. So return that. Okay. Sorry. I just, if you see what I've done, I just did the A2. I did not select the entire array. It wants an array. So I just selected the A2, that's why it was just picking one. So the moment I pick the entire array, it's able to pick it. Now we do another one with index match. We repeat the index match.
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So we are saying index. The index will pick an array, which is this one. Let's say that one we want. And then from which point do we want it to be? We want it to, so we said index just returns two things, the array we want to return, and then our row number. But instead of now coming and counting our row number, we want to return row number 2, we can now use the match function. So when you bring in the match has the lookup value. What do we want to look up? We want to look up our cell, this one that we're using here. Which array are we looking it up at? It's this one. So remember, every time we are saying we have an array that we're looking up. So whatever we're looking for, which cell is it in, which row is it in, which column is it in. So that's why we are saying the lookup array. So whatever we are looking for and the array that it is in. So we said our index, it returns an array, and then the row number is usually the default thing that we want to return. But now our match will give us now that ideal thing that we want to do, because it will give us the value, the lookup value, which is the cell that we're using, and then which array are we using, which array do we want to find this, where can we find our E22, it's in this column, and then we just enter it and then it give us a name. You can see all the functions are still doing the same thing. They are giving us more or less the same thing. So the same way we had said, match, you can see what match is doing. It's bringing the nearest to whatever it was given. So it's giving us a Christina Lawson. So it's like giving a 001. But the rest, because I think this one we changed, we moved it back to an exact match. It can't give us that. But if we move to the next smallest, it looks like an index match. You can see once we change this one to next smallest, it looks like an index match. But for the VLOOKUP, we have to input the values manually. Sawa, now we have seen the difference between VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and index match. All right.
Esther, I have a question. What if we have a large data set?
Yeah.
For the lookup, once you name the table and select the table array, how will you denote the column if you have many columns? How will you count? Because you see, for this case, we have a small data set. What if we have
big data set? That is why you can notice we are trying to avoid having situations where we are using something like index alone. You see, with index, you'll have to count the number of columns that you are checking. So, but with match, you just have the lookup value here and it is going to count on its own. So, and then also for VLOOKUP, that is why we are saying it can be disadvantageous because you have to name the column and it is quite static. So that is why we are bringing these other new formulas. You see now with XLOOKUP, I just need to come and click the one I want to return and this the next one, so I don't have to count anything. So that is why the new functions were being brought in to avoid that situation of having to count in situation of a large data set. So it's very rare that you'll have to use match alone or index alone. But now when you combine the two, you find it becomes a bit dynamic. I hope I've answered.
So the index match, you can use it to replace you having to use X and VLOOKUP.
Yes.
Is
you
that
can
what you're saying?
replace it. Yes, VLOOKUP is one of the older versions, so you don't have to use it. Most people are now moving away from VLOOKUP because you see now it has limitations. You have to input either the column number, you have to do everything that is on the right side. If you have errors, you have to add now another function to it. But now with X, it becomes very easy because you saw how X was easy. You just highlight the entire row and it brings it for you. All right. No,
Esther
I'm
is
here. I'm here.
lost, or it's
I
my
was just
internet.
listening if there is something else. So another way you can also do the same is with our match function, you can be able to, you remember what we said our match is. Let's try something. Okay. Why am I putting a plus? What do we want to look up for? J1. And then in which area do we want to look it up for at this point? Then we see what it is going to give us. Given an error. Oh, it is identifying it as circular. So let's say we want to look for something like sales. Finding a zero. From A1 to whatever, Z1. Let's say something of the sort. We don't have sales. Amuniambi, we don't have sales, people of God. I'm not still identifying it. But now, ideally, with this one, it's supposed to now give us the column that we want. Yeah, finally. You see? So you know our column name that we want to return. You can just come and plug it in here. Remember now when I was saying even for VLOOKUP, you can be able to use just a name. You can just have it static, so it will give us. So the name we want, we can have it here. So also we can also plug this to the VLOOKUP again. Let's say now we want to return a status in VLOOKUP. We remember our syntax of VLOOKUP. So what are we looking up for? This one.
What's 0?
Which one? 0. The
Mm,
exact match. Remember we had the exact match.
exact match.
Acha tutafika hapo. Tutafika hapo. So we have our table array. It's my table. So I don't have to keep naming it again. And then what column do I want to return? So remember now this is where we are counting the columns. But instead of counting, we can just use our match function again and say, what do I want to look up for? I want to look up for the name. Our array. Now we have this entire top part. So it's from A1, all the header to Z1. So that one I can just put going all along if the names are beyond there. So you see now here is where we are choosing either a less than, an exact match, or a greater than. So we want the one that is an exact match. And then we can enter. Then remember we had to put another 0 for the false. We also want another exact match again. So over here, and what happened? It decided to give me an error again. Okay. Do we know why we are getting an error again? We didn't have the ID. So we didn't have the catch error. So you see now that can become a problem when you have to start identifying. But you can see now where we brought in the match again, where you don't have now to count the columns one by one. So you can be able to use the match in VLOOKUP. But now you see XLOOKUP is helping us avoid all these points of adding extra formulas and such. And we have points to catch error. Okay. Early in that part, as we close up on the lookup functions. So yeah, I think this one we'll just go through. We have already covered them. We said we will not do HLOOKUP because it's just inverting the VLOOKUP. Then yeah, this one we can read again as we go in. We have seen the syntax for this one. Always use the force for exact match. And then one of the main limitation only returns data to the right. So we can't see any other data to the left side. Yeah, so this one we have said such as first row horizontally. So most of the time we usually use it when you have your column names on the row side, so on a transpose table. Index match, we have seen. Index returns the value by position, and match finds the position of the value. So they are best used together. You have seen how you can even use match with VLOOKUP and such. Yeah, this is an example. We have already also done something similar to this. XLOOKUP, we have said it's a newer one with 365, and I think now from 2021. So if you have the 365 subscription or you're using this, so the best part of it, you have said it has a catch, an error catch. So if it's not found, you're able to get it, and then you're also just able to choose an array. You don't have to choose the entire table. It can search in any direction. Then remember always our lookup array and our return array should be the same length. That is just an example. Yeah, then that was the end of that part. So best practice, always use force for exact match. That you can remember even match, when we didn't use exact match, it was not returning. So it's always best use that. And then you saw also when we were using either -1 or 1, they would return other things which was not the correct thing. So we said our data should always be accurate. So if you return something that is not whatever you are looking for, you are giving wrong information. So unless something is not very strict, that is when you can use the other negatives. Yeah, but for most of the time, always use an exact match, and then double check the columns, some are the row numbers. So at least with match, it helps you. You can now make sure you have not done a mistake. Now imagine you have column that has something like profit, another that has sales. And then when I was just counting, I use sales at the point of profit. So we'll get an end and be like, our company is making a lot of profit, but ideally I used the wrong column. But if I'm using match and then just search for profit, I know correctly I've searched for profit. So if you can be able to use index match or XLOOKUP, the better. So keep practicing. They're usually one of the most interviewed parts of Excel if you're able to differentiate and use them. And then, as we said, you can name your ranges. You don't have to keep selecting the entire table again and such. So you are just using our F3. Let me put it here. I don't know if every time I remember to share it in the notes when I'm giving, but our shortcut at that point is F3. We take a 5 minutes break, then we do conditional formatting. Is that okay? People, are we here?
Okay.
Yeah, we do 5 minutes, then we do conditional formatting. We call it a day for today.
Hey, Calvins. Is anyone here?
Sema.
Mbona sioni hizo whatever is being shared kwa Google Class?
Ebu unatumia link gani?
Ile yenye ilikuwa shared.
Ziko hizo assignment ziko. Ama unasema
Wapi?
link ya nini recorded classes?
Yes, yes.
Si ziko kwa group ya WhatsApp?
Hakuna yenye iko hapa.
Wapi kwa Google Class? Mimi sijacheck.
Kwa Google Class kuna nini?
Si kuna hizo data zenye tunatumia.
The only thing yenye iko hapa, please find attached the link to yesterday's class, and that was April 8th.
But
Oh, then,
nini? Walishare nini link ya hizo classes zote
Yes.
kwa nini kwa group. I think shida ni group ni mingi. Acha nikuconfirm ni group gani then ni reshare.
Okay.
Sawa.
Hi, our 5-minute break is over. Should be back now. Let me know when we are back. Just react either thumbs up or something. You know we are back. Now we're back. We start. Right, kwa nawe pekee huku ama the rest wamerudi?
Sana na kuna watu huko lakini sisikii sauti zao.
You asked a
We are taking
question.
a break. Yeah, I've been saying the last 3 minutes we should be back. So I was asking if we are around.
Yes,
We
we are here.
continue. So we continue. This is fast. This is very easy. It's just a bit of formatting. Yeah. So we are going to see how to highlight. We understand the various tools that we can use, and then how you can apply them on values, some formulas. Yeah, basically. So conditional formatting is automatically changes the appearance of cell based on rules. So you see at times we want to find the top 5, the bottom 5 in a data set. So instead of going, clicking and search, with conditional formatting, it gives you the same in a split second. So you're able to just see the color and you know this is what he's saying. You can either use colors, icons, bars. You're going to see all of them. So I know you have seen this part in your Excel, just in the home tab. We have that conditional formatting, and these are the main rules. Either the highlight cell, you can either have the top, bottom, you have the data bars, you can use the color scale and the icon set. So the ones that we'll be able to cover, we'll cover them today. The ones that remain, we can be able to do them by ourselves. I think I prefer doing the other way around. I
So-
prefer starting with the data itself instead of theory. So we have said, you can see Excel now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's visible.
Okay. So we have said in the home tab, this is where we have our conditional formatting. So whichever rule that you want to apply, you can apply at this point. let's say, for example, in our monthly salary, you want to highlight cells that are either greater than 70,000. And what color do you want to use? So the ones that are greater, it looks like it's healthy. So you see, different colors have different meanings. So if I say red, it looks like danger. So if I want green, so you can see anything that is greater than 70,000, it's been highlighted. So I can choose whatever I want at that point. Yeah, so you can play around with that point and see if it's less than what, if it's between which range, if it's equals to what. If it is text, let's also try for text. For numbers, it's just the same. If it is text, it contains something like HR. You can see already when just putting the first letter, it is highlighting for us. IT. Okay, that one can be many because the rest have those. So if I put IT, you can see. So you can be able to easily pick the category that you want just by a click. Rather than doing many things, you're able to do that. If you want to see either duplicate, you click on that. It gives you, it shows like most of our things are duplicate. If I want unique, the only unique thing in that column is the name department. Let's try with another row. Yeah. So most of the time you will usually find, especially for employee IDs, the IDs, you want them to be unique so that we don't have someone who is repeated. So that is a place where you can be able to come and see, do you have duplicate? You can see nothing was highlighted. You can also try check unique. Everything is unique. So such. So it's usually very nice, especially when you want to see whatever we have. Is it unique? Is it duplicated and such? So you're able to select what you want to do with. So that is basically more of it. That. You can also do dates. So you can see if you select other more, you can be able to format all the cells based on their value. You can either choose format either the top or the bottom rank. So you can continue playing around with it. So you want to format the top 10, and what format do you want to use? You can choose. Come and say, for that, I want the color to be either this. So you want the borders or the fill to be something like that. Then, yeah. So that one may not make sense kiasi, because what are we doing? Which column are we in? So if it's ranked, you're able to pick. That one cannot make sense at this point because this was just ID, it cannot rank. But if you're using something like salary, you're able to rank it in that category. That way you're able to pick the top 10 and such, so it is going to highlight for you. So for top, bottom rules, so you can see, like the ones that was in the extra rules. So for this one, if I want top 10, it is going to rank for me automatically. And then you can be able to easily scroll through and see all the top 10s, how they look like. You can also have the others, top 10%. That was now in items. So for this, it can also give you the percentage in top 10. When you said color, be careful, especially as a data analyst, which color you're giving, because most of the time, if I see my name with red, I will know that things are not working well. The same to bottom 10. So you can also have the average. It will calculate the average on its own automatically. Remember, you can see, we said when you highlight on a cell below at the status bar, we have our averages. So our average is 71 for 56, for 54. So you can see it's calculated like rightly because even 72,000 is above the average. The rest, it goes below. So it's able to pick for us those levels. Or you can also do the same rules will be repeated here. How do you want to format it? Do you want to change something or do you want it to remain as it is? You can see what function do you want, the bottom 10, the top 10, and such. So you're able to format, in the way that pleases you. What else again here? Database. So this one will usually work, especially when you have such numbers. So you'll see people who usually will give you something like easy progress reports. If something is 100% done, you can either use a Sparkline or you can use this database. So you can see the closer it is to the top, the highest, the longer the bar is. And you can also be able to format it in a way you can say you just want to see the bar only. If I choose the bar only, I can also choose the color that I want. So it will return for me only the bars at that point now. I think we have seen something of the sort. So if you want people just to see the progress as it is, you know, the farthest, we are near the end, and such, so you can be able to put it like that. So that is also an option when you want to show it in those. And then for data bars, you can either choose the gradient. You can see how it is changing, or a solid fill, so an entire color. So this one is something that you can just play around with it. So let me just return back my values. Why is it not coming back? Because it is not show bar only. Okay. So yeah, that is more of it in conditional. So the color scale, they work more or less like the data bar. But now for the color scale, you can see how it is given. We have some colors that have red, yellow. Yeah, it's like the traffic lights, danger, amber, go. Yeah. So you're able to also see how they are choosing them. You can see we are using a 2-color scale. So the lowest value is supposed to pick this color and the maximum value is supposed to pick that color. So from it itself, now it is a kujigawia the colors and decide from our lowest value to our highest value, this will be our color scale. And you can even choose more colors if you want to have a 3 or such. So itakuja inagawa inaona. So based on the 2, it will gawa into 2. So it goes from the lowest, going increasing in intensity of the color, like that. So that is for the color scales. For the icon, the same way. I think you've seen this, if you've seen dashboards, you'll see some things having top, bottom, and the same way again, you can also just show the signs again. So for this one, it is gawaring into 3, because you see, we chose 3. Our nini wa 3. So it will divide in top 3. So it shows green when the value is greater than or equal to 67%. And then it shows the orange amber when it is less than 65 and greater than 33. And then it shows danger when it is less than 33%. But you can choose if you want it to be either a number, a formula, or a percentile. If it's, yeah, so this one you can choose by yourself how you want it. And then here, you can choose again, what style do you want? Do you want it to look like this? Do you want to just to show the icons again alone? You can just select you want to show icons alone. So I think you have seen such things. So whenever something is positive, it goes green tick. Whenever it's negative, below the percentages that we chose, it goes at the X. Whenever it's just medium there, it shows us the yellow ones, showing be concerned about this. So yeah, basically, those are most of the rules for the data. You can see, you can also see the rating. Also rating in the same category, which ones are low, which ones are up, nini. So you can be able to choose how do I want them to be shown. So especially for presentation, you can choose just to show either the bars themselves alone, but sasa your icon set yangu will change to these colors. So yeah, so for conditional formatting, those are some of the major rules. that you can be able to use, and you can be able to clear all our rules that you placed everywhere. You can manage everything. So yeah, basically that is it when it comes to conditional formatting. You can be able to play around with it, see how to do it. It becomes very beautiful when you set some things, you're able to know when we are cleaning. And that is the end of conditional formatting. Any question? So if we don't have a question, we will end at that point. I'm hoping to get a write-up for at least something. If you don't have a question for the other assignment, you can be able to consolidate either questions from the assignment and maybe just one write-up from the assignment. I'm also giving another assignment today. This is individual based, so everyone will be able to do this by themselves. They should be able to hand it in by by Wednesday. So when the class is ending on Wednesday, let's have it submitted in. Then something else, Git. Remember now we are starting to build our project. So even this one that we're doing as assignments, they're very good to also to put initially. And then so make sure you install Git and we open our GitHub account. Wednesday we might have a session to do Git and GitHub. Tomorrow we start on pivot tables. Yeah, we'll do pivot tables, and if you're able to be done with pivot tables, we can do an introduction to visualization. But tomorrow, basically, we're doing the pivot tables. So if there's no question, that is the end from my side. Okay.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, I came a bit late. How can I get the assignments?
Which one? The current one ama ya last week yenye walikuwa wanafanya?
Maybe all of them.
They're in the WhatsApp group. Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I'm in the WhatsApp group, but I came a bit late, but I can do follow-ups.
Okay, I think the current one for today they have been shared. And then the old one I can also reshare ama they can share. Sijui kama ziko kwa Google Classroom, but I'll check. They should also be in the Google Classroom. So at least with that one, it is a bit more orderly as compared to WhatsApp.
Okay, maybe I know. Can you resend the link for Google Classroom?
Someone who has the link, tusaidia nayo. Yeah, we'll share with you. Tushare tu. No worries.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, just before it goes, hi Esther, just quickly. Yeah, Philip,
Yeah.
you can reach out. Philip, if you can hear me, please reach out so that
Pardon?
I'm
Pardon?
saying if you can hear me, please reach out so that we can assist you with your request. I've just dropped our number on the chat. Can you see it? I'm not sure if
I
it's
can
the
drop.
right. I'm
I
saying,
can drop my number now. I'm getting you.
yeah, I'm not sure if you're in the right groups. I'm sure you're not. So please reach out. You can drop your number, and I've also dropped mine there. You can reach out for further assistance.
Oh, thank you. 0707. Yeah,
So
I've
yes,
dropped
so just
mine.
proceed. Okay. Okay, it's in. Okay. Esther, I can end the recording, right? Or it's still on?
End it, you can end it.
Okay.